Hello and welcome back to the final episode of the Marzano's Learning and Teaching Strategies. So we're down to the last episode, and for this episode we are going to talk about questions, cues, and advanced organizers. So again, just to have a quick recap, we did the following eight strategies in the previous videos. So the first one we did identifying similarities and differences, and then we summarize and note taking, and then we did the reinforcing effort and providing recognition. We did homework and practice, non-linguistic representations, cooperative learning, setting objectives and providing feedback, generate and testing hypotheses. So now we will talk about how Marzano explained questions, cues, and advanced organizers. So according to him, questions and cues will guide students to analyze and apply information while evoking critical thinking skills. So, for him, if we will ask students a question, give them time to answer it, and then ask them to verbally say their answers, it's a way of teaching them to be critical on how they answer questions. So in general, the the point is to give them their own space and time to process answers to questions. Okay, so when is this helpful? This is helpful in knowledge checking. So after a discussion, most of the time that's the end of the session, right? But according to him, we need to emphasize doing three things: questions, cues, and advanced organizers, which we will discuss in a bit. But for him, we need to ask questions after a particular topic has been discussed. And so we will give the student time to think about how to answer this. And then after doing so, we ask the student to give their answer. Okay. Um, this is different to an impromptu question and answer, because if you do an impromptu question and answer, you're just checking what they remember at that moment. But if you're giving them time to find the answers themselves and research on how they can answer this question, then that is more useful, as you are teaching them how to decide and how to think for themselves. Now, advanced organizers both introduce and categorize information for students. Okay, so once they have already the answer, we're going to help them to organize their answers into visual presentations. So this is actually similar to non-linguistic representations, wherein we're gonna use pictures, icons, and so on. Okay, so now let's talk about cues, questions, and advanced organizers even further. Cues and questions should focus on what is important as opposed to what is unusual. Okay, so if you have a topic about, let's say, the space, you ask about questions that they will use, that they will pretty much have to use in their future studies, and not ask something that is not really related, or maybe something that's interesting but it's not going to be important for them. So design questions for deep understanding so that the student will be more interested. Okay, and then higher level questions, I guess we're talking about difficult questions, can produce deeper learning than lower level questions. Why is that? Because if the question is higher level or very difficult, then the student will be forced to analyze the information than to remember. This is what I was telling earlier about question and answer impromptu, because they just answer based on what they can remember and not exactly what they can research on. So you should ask them questions so that they can restructure what they have to learn, and they will apply the knowledge in by using organizers. Okay, so we have identified four types of advanced organizers. Okay, so let's talk about them one by one. So we have the expository advanced organizer. What it does is it describes new content to be learned. So it's similar to an annotated bibliography. So more on you provide verbal or written account of what they are going to learn, like a summary of what they're going to learn. And so this can help them organize how they are going to present this information. And then we have next is the narrative advanced organizer. It's it helps to present information in story format. Could be your personal story that you relate to information. Okay, so again, the first one is about describing what you are supposed the student's supposed to be learning, and the narrative is you are making your own story for the student to, you know, relate to, and you have to make sure that your story, of course, is interesting and engaging for them. Okay, so this is the time where we include video clips or short stories, but personal stories are very interesting for students. We all can relate to this when we were in college or high school, when this teacher is telling a story, personal story, like it seems like everyone is glued to the blackboard listening to this story. The third one is skimming advanced organizers. This is quickly becoming familiar with information. What it does is it provides students the chance to develop a picture of the material which will be addressed and allows them to organize the new information. So in this case, the questions can be provided to guide the skimming process to help the students access prior knowledge to the subject. One example is table of contents review. So what it does is it will help the student get information quickly, like an outline. And then finally, we have the graphic advanced organizer. This is different from graphic organizer because they're given in advance with the intent of introducing knowledge to new materials. So when we say effective graphic advanced organizers, they should clearly communicate intended learning outcomes compared to just, you know, a normal graphic organizer. All right, so now let's show you some graphic organizers that students can actually apply and as teachers can also use. So the first one is Draw IO. I'll probably show an example here. Oh, wait a minute. I'm unable to. Okay. Um, this is an organizer, Draw.io. So this is useful when you're presenting information through an algorithm. You can add text, you can add shapes, and then you can connect them with arrows. All right. So if you're telling a student a new information, then definitely they can use this as a guide in order for them to um, understand everything much clearer. Next one we have ThingLink. So this is good for um, graphic advanced organizers because it allows the users to use pictures, movies, videos into the images. So also can be helpful in narrative advanced organizers, but more important in graphic advanced organizers. We also have the differentiator. It will help teachers to quickly create. Students will be able to statements using a bank of choices rated to Bloom taxonomy. And then Pinball. So this one is developed by BBC, and the tools lets the students quickly organize thoughts and create mind maps, which later on can be printed. Okay, so this is really, really, really good as it can help the student become interested with the very good visuals. We also have Padlet, which is similar to a notepad with some extra features. We have Lino. Together, they can help students to collaborate, and which can be useful when they do organizers, advanced organizers. Okay, so that's pretty much all of Marzano's teaching and learning strategies. I hope you guys learned something from this. If you have questions, feel free to comment down below, and we will see you again next time. Okay, for a different set of topic. Okay, goodbye.